Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on Thursday, the 5th of November. And yes, what a day we had of sport yesterday with State of Origin. Obviously, with the State of Origin won 3 games over the next 2 weeks. So bring it up to speed with what happened in that game between New South Wales and Queensland. Also, we had the stage 3 of the SBS Tour of Southland. Which SBS Bank, Tour of Southland, which went up the Remarkables. So yes, it was definitely going to be a day that would shake up the general classification. Also, we had a new CEO appointed to New Zealand Sport. The Halberg Awards announced what they're going to be doing with their awards for this year. And community sports gets a boost from government funding as well. So bringing up speed with all of that. Let's kick off with that community funding. And community sports has got a $15 million boost. This is all part of the $265 million sports recovery package that was announced as part of the 2020 budget. And as I say, this has all gone to grassroots. Gladstone Sports and Social Complex in Wairarapa, for example, received nearly $5,000. The range of where the funding could go was expanded in this tranche. This is the second tranche of funding, or phase 2 tranche of funding for sports. And the current Sports New Zealand CEO, Peter Miskim. So this built on the previous fund. And where $6 million was awarded to nearly 2,000 clubs and organisations. This time, as we say, it was $15 million that was given out. This time, they could ask for up to $25,000. Overall, rugby and football received about $2.1 million each. Golf got around $900,000, and basketball around $380,000. You've got to remember, though, that some of these funds, if it goes to a rugby club, they might have a squash courts and other pieces in there. That'd be a general sports club. So quite exactly, remember, this is going to the grassroots. It's not going to the sort of New Zealand rugby, etc. At that kind of level. Raelene Castle will be the new CEO of Sports New Zealand, and that's what's replacing Peter Miskim. He steps down in December, so it's still another month or so away. This was rumoured yesterday, and Raelene Castle, definitely a divisive figure after her time at the Bulldogs and Rugby Australia. Also been at some, you'll see be part of New Zealand netball as well. So 15 years of sports administration experience that she brings in to the role there. So we wish her all of the best in her new role as the chief executive of Sports New Zealand. Clearly an important role with the various grassroots and all clubs requiring that funding, as we've just seen from the government. Moving on then into the cycling, and yes, it was a important stage yesterday for the SBS Tour of Southland as they went up the Remarkables, and congratulations to the winner, a local rider, Ruben Thompson, who's in the under 23 category from Vet for Farm. Won the stage by 28 seconds ahead of Ollie Jones from PowerNet. We saw James Oram and Aaron Gate from Black Spoke Pro Cycling come in at 5th and 6th, 40 seconds and 1 minute at 18 down, who the previous leaders on the general classification. That sees Ruben go top overall. He'll take the yellow jersey, 23 seconds ahead of James Oram from Black Spoke Pro Cycling Academy. Ollie Jones and Colin Strong from PowerNet are then in 3rd and 4th there. So the gaps are 23 seconds, 24 seconds, and 25 seconds. The top 5 places, all very close. Michael Vink, the last one there, from Transport Energy tallies. Today, And Ruben Thompson has just signed for Groupama FGJ in the World Tour. He came back and was isolating and practicing in his hotel room until the day before the race. So well done there, and shows you what you can do inside on a turbo trainer. Moving on then his teammates, Matthew Zinovic still leads the sprint classification. Paul Wright from Creation Sign leads the King of the Mountains jersey in that one. Looks like the weather is wet but warm. Yes, we're well into summer now, and the weather has definitely improved, folks. Moving into the Vuelta a España, and Tim Wellens won in a small group sprint ahead of Michael Woods, Zybeck Stybar, and Dylan van Baal to win the stage. There's a small group ahead of the main peloton that came in nearly 4 minutes down on that leading group, and no changes to the general classification overall. Primož Roglič still leads Richard Carapaz by 39 seconds ahead of Hugh Carthy, who is 47 seconds back from Primož. And those top three, you've got to say, are most likely to are going to be fighting it out for the overall win. Dan Martin, a minute 42 back in fourth place, is probably too far back really to challenge in that one. That finishes that finishes this weekend, and we'll keep you up to date with how the Vuelta a España is going. Don't forget, you can listen to us on the move as well. Just download the search for New Zealand Sports Radio on iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, all your favorite pod catchers. We are there. And yes, it was State of Origin 1 last night. And initially, it looked like it was going to go to the favourites, with New South Wales finding it easy to make ground and pull the Queensland defence around, creating spaces for them to attack. They jumped out to a 10-0 lead during the first half, and it looked like it could very easily blow out quickly as those two scores came very close to each other. Queensland, though, improved their communication and their connectivity, and the defence held up till half-time, and they led 10-0. In the second half, they came back, and 3 tries in the space of 14 minutes saw them win the game 10-18. First up, there was a break down the left where a fullback got caught, was being played out of position, and got handed off, which allowed the try. Then, really, from pretty much nothing, an offload meant quick ball. The New South Wales hadn't reset the defence, and it went out to the right, and another try there saw the Maroons take the lead, and that third try sealed things for them. A little bit of controversy at the end, though, where the clock on the TV suggested there was still time, or still a couple of seconds left, but the referee blew for full time, which meant that with New South Wales on attack, they could one more play. If they'd scored and converted, they would have tied the game. So a bit of controversy there, but remember, the TV clock isn't the official clock, and they're run by 2 different people, both listening to the referee saying stop time, start time, and they kind of, so yes, a little bit of controversy there at the end. Well, Hugh reckons that apparently it's the biggest upset since 1995. There were a lot of rookies, 8 rookies in the team for Queensland, and they were big outsiders, as Hugh points out there. So that really does open up the series and make it really kind of interesting. I think at half-time, people were probably thinking, okay, is this going to be a New South Wales sweep? Are they going to do the three-peat and all of that? Now all the thinking is about this year and who is actually going to win it. So yeah, the next, I expect New South Wales to come back strong in State of Origins 2 next week. Don't forget to join Brad at 8 p.m. this evening for the standoff, and he will be going through all of the action from the game and looking forward. Clearly, he knows his league much better than I do, but that was my little summary, having watched the game last night. Moving on then into the Hallberg Awards, and they have decided that 2020 was not a full season and or year of sport, and they're going to roll 2020 into 2021 for their awards. Instead, we're going to have a decade long Hallberg Awards next coming up, which means that the sporting achievements this year, I say, will have to compete with the Olympics next year for the Hallberg Awards. Now, when you think of the performances by Israel Adesanya, Scott McLaughlin, Scott, the IndyCar driver, on blank, who's also there, have all had big years this year, as well as Courtney Duncan, who won the Women's Motocross World Championship, winning, I think it was 9 out of the 10 races, or 8 out of the 10 races, something like that. You've got to say that there are some very, very worthy winners of it this year. Scott Dixon, that's the name I forgot. Sorry, folks. So yes, a lot of a bit of controversy there, but instead we will have winners of the decade. This time, for the first time, there'll also be team awards for the decade results as well. Previously, I think it's just been for individuals that have been given at the Decade Champions Awards. You are now up to speed with all the important sports news. This weekend, I will be at the North Harbour versus Counties Manukau in the Minor 10 Cup, and also the Bay of Plenty game. I was gone blank as to who Bay of Plenty are playing. Oh, no, sorry, the Waikato game this week on Sunday. Stephen will be at Auckland for Auckland versus Northland. Also, I will be at the Possibles versus the Probables for the Black Ferns as well. So we'll be out and about around the grounds. Don't forget to follow on New Zealand Sports Radio Facebook page for our post-match interviews and coverage from those games. And hope you're having a wonderful week, folks. And I'll catch you all tomorrow at 7 a.m. for the morning sports briefing.